been a beautiful time with my son. Let me tell you, beautiful time. In fact, I have a text from him right now. I told him I had to work the weekend. He said, "It's life." I love my boy. Well, I've been reading Esther a lot, which is a very underrated book in my opinion, because, a lot of people say women aren't mentioned enough in the Bible. There aren't enough powerful women. Well, let us read. Esther chapter 1. During the reign of Assuerus, this was the Assyrians who ruled over 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. While he was occupying the royal throne in the stronghold of Susa, in the 3rd year of his reign, he presided over a feast for all his officers and ministers, the Persians and Median aristocracy, the nobles, and the governors of the provinces. For as many as 180 days, he displayed the glorious riches of his kingdom and the resplendent wealth of his royal estate. At the end of this time, the king gave a feast of 7 days in the garden court of the royal palace for all the people, great and small, who were in the stronghold of Susa. There were white cotton draperies and violet hangings, held by cords of crimson byssus from silver rings on marble pillars. Gold and silver couches were on the pavement, which was porphyry, marble, mother of pearl, and colored stones. Liquor was served in a variety of golden cups, and the royal wine flowed freely, as befitted the king's munificence. By ordinance of the king, the drinking was unstinted, for he had instructed all the stewards of the household to comply with the good pleasures of everyone. Queen Vashti also gave a feast for the woman inside the royal palace of King Assuerus. On the 7th day, when the king was merry with wine, he instructed Mehuman, Bezitha, Marbona, Bigtha, Abitha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 eunuchs who attended King Ahasuerus, to bring Queen Vashti into his presence wearing the royal crown, that he might display her breast, her beauty, display her beauty to the populace and the officials, for she is lovely to behold. Hey everybody, sorry, I read chapters at a time, but hey Marta, hey Jane Eve. Yeah, we're reading Esther chapter 1. Ethiopian translation to English from the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. It's just one many translations I have. I have student NIV over there, but anyway. So, but Queen Vashti refused to come at the royal order issued through the eunuchs. At this, the king's wrath flared up, of course, been drinking, and he burned with fury. He conferred with the wise men, versed in the law. Because the king's business week was conducted in general consultation with lawyers and jurists, he summoned Krishna, Shittar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Mersina, and Murkan, the 7 Persian and Median officials, who were in the king's personal service and held first rank in Rome. Asked them what is to be done by law with Queen Vashti for disobeying the order of King Assuerus issued through the eunuchs. In the presence of the kings and of the officials, Emekana answered, This is amazing. Like I just find this so Queen Vashti was not wrong, has not wronged the king alone, but all the officials and the populace throughout the province of King Ahasuerus. For the queen's conduct will become known to all the women, and they will look with disdain upon their husband when it is reported. King Ahasuerus commanded that Queen Vashti be ushered into the presence, but she would not come. This very day, the Persian and Median ladies who hear of the queen's conduct will rebel against all royal officials with corresponding disdain and rancor. If it please the king, let an irrevocable royal decree be issued by him and inscribed among the laws of the Persians and Medes, forbidding Vashti to come into the presence of King Ahasuerus, and authorizing the king to give her royal dignity to one more authority than she. Thus, when the decree which the king will issue is published throughout his realm, vast as it is, all wives will honor their husbands from the great to the least. The proposal found acceptance with the king and the officials, of course, and the king accepted on the advice of Mimican. He sent letters to all the royal provinces, to each province in its own script, to each people in its own language, to the effect that every man should be lord in his own home. Seeing a little bit, but literally, it'd mean a lot if anyone could get a like. Just trying to build up this little thing I got going. But it's amazing right at the end here how this Mimican, I think, he is literally presenting something that he wants done. He wants his wife to be submissive. He doesn't want her to have the role of woman, which is to submit to your husband in a spiritual sense. It is not about control. It is about roles. There are things women can do that men can absolutely not do. That is why when you get married, you are no longer separate. You are bone of bone, flesh of flesh. And I take that very seriously. But you see this man who's probably got issues at home or something, and he talks through third person, acting like it was the king's idea to make him think, oh, I'm such a good king. Hello, Cassandra. I'm sorry, I can't read. Quesadillas? 161, what's up? But it's ridiculous how it's just disgusting that someone would use the king who's drunk, mad, and make him make an emotional decision that affects someone he loves greatly, even if he's mad. The woman did not disrespect the publicans and the officials, as he's saying. He just wants his wife to be 1,000% submissive, and she ain't like that. She don't flow. So we're gonna read Esther chapter 2. I'll look up the comments as much as I can. After this, when King Assyria's wrath had cooled, he thought over what Vashti had done and what had been decreed against her. I'm sorry, I'm still struggling with nicotine, guys. 41 months I got this month. Off fentanyl and meth, though, I'm proud to say. I am struggling with nicotine still, I'm not gonna lie. Then sought for the king, let the king appoint commissaries in all the provinces of the realm to bring together all beautiful young virgins to harem in the stronghold of Susa, under the care of the royal eunuch, Hige, custodian of the woman. Let cosmetics be given them. Then the girl who pleased the king shall reign in place of Vashti. The suggestion pleased the king, and he acted accordingly. See? Once again, there it is. There was in the stronghold of Susa a certain Jew named Mordecai, son of Jar, son of Shimei, son of Kish, a Benjamite. who had been exiled from Jerusalem with the captives taken with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had deported. Sorry, something popped up. He was foster father to Haddish. That is Esther, his cousin, for she had lost both father and mother. The girl was beautifully formed and lovely to behold. The death of her father and mother, Mordecai had taken her as his own daughter. When the king's order and decree had been obeyed, and many maidens brought together to the stronghold of Susa under the care of Haggai, Esther also was brought to the royal palace under the care of Haggai, custodian of the woman. The girl pleased him and won his favor, so he promptly furnished her with cosmetics and provisions. And picking out 7 maids for her from the royal palace, he transferred both her and her maids to the best place in the harem. Esther did not reveal her nationality or family, for Mordecai had commanded her not to do so. Day by day, Mordecai would walk about in front of the court of the harem to learn how Esther was faring and what was to become of her. Each girl went in turn to visit King Ahasuerus after the 12 months' preparation decreed for the woman. Of this period of beautifying treatment, 6 months were spent with oil of myrrh, and the other 6 months with perfumes and cosmetics. Then, when the girl was to visit the king, she was allowed to take with her from the harem to the royal palace whatever she chose. She would go in the evening and return in the morning to a second harem under the care of the royal eunuch Sashgaz, custodian of the concubines. She could not return to king unless he was pleased with her and had summoned by name. As for Esther, daughter of Abihail, an adopted daughter of his nephew Mordecai, when her turn came to visit the king, she did not ask for anything but what the royal eunuch Haggai, custodian of the woman, suggested. Yet she won the admiration of all who saw her. Esther was led to King Ahasuerus in his palace in the 10th month, to Beth in the 7th year of his reign. The king loved Esther more than all other women and all the virgins. She won his favor and benevolence, so he placed the royal diadem on her head and made her queen in place of Vashti. And the king gave a great feast in honor of Esther to all his officials and ministers, granting a holiday to the provinces and bestowing gifts with royal bounty. From the time the virgins had been brought together, and while Mordecai was passing his time at the king's gate, Esther had not revealed her family or nationality because Mordecai had told her not to. And Esther continued to follow Mordecai's instructions, just as she had when she was being brought up by him. And during the time that Mordecai spent at the king's gate, Bagathan and Theres, 2 of the royal eunuchs who guarded the entrance, had plotted in anger to lay hands on King Ahasuerus. When the plot became known to Mordecai, he told Queen Esther, who in turn informed the king before Mordecai. The matter was investigated and verified, and both of them were hanged on a gibbet. This is written in the annals for the king's use. Alright, we're just going to continue right down to 3. After the events, King Ahasuerus raised Haman, son of Hammedatha the Agagite, to high rank, seating him above all fellow officials. All the king's servants who were at the royal gate would kneel and bow down to Haman, for that is what the king had ordered in his regard. Mordecai would not kneel and bow down. The king's servants who were at the royal gate said to Mordecai, "Why do you disobey the king's order?" When they reminded him day after day, and he would not listen to them, they informed Haman to whether Mordecai's explanation was acceptable, since he had told them that he was a Jew. When Haman observed that Mordecai would not kneel and bow down to him. He was filled with anger. Moreover, he thought it was not enough to lay hands on Mordecai alone, since they told Haman of Mordecai's nationality, he sought to destroy all the Jews. Nothing new under God's sun. Mordecai's people throughout the realm of King Ahasuerus in the first month, Nisan, in the 12th month of King Ahasuerus, the prayer of lot was cast in Haman's presence to determine the day and month for the destruction of Mordecai's people on a single day, and the lot fell on the 13th day of the 12th month. Adar then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, dispersed among the nations throughout the provinces of your kingdom, there is certain people living apart with laws differing from those of every other people. They do not obey the laws of the king, and so it is not proper for the king to tolerate them. If it please the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them. I will deliver it to the procurators 10,000 silver talents for deposit in royal treasury. The king took the signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, son of the Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. The silver you may keep, the king said to Haman, but as for the people, do with them whatever you please. So the royal scribes were summoned, and on the 13th day of the first month they wrote at the dictation of Haman an order to the royal scribes, the governors of every province, officials of every people, to each province in its own script, and to each people in its own language. It was written in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the royal signet ring. Letters were sent by couriers to all royal provinces that all Jews, young and old, including women and children, should be killed, destroyed, wiped out in one day, 13th day of the 12th month Adar, and that their goods should be seized as spoil. Nothing new under God's sun. Nothing new. Destroy all Jews. And as we read that, then we go to the absolute darkness, which is the three magical books of Solomon. Now, the more I understand darkness, the more I get into light. I am not impressed by darkness. In fact, I'm disgusted by it. I think it's wrong, inhumane, and against nature, and against God's beautiful creation to want to be able to create. It's absolutely disgusting to me. Absolutely. But you have to understand it. You have to realize. You have to be aware. Like, I mean, what you don't, what do you think when you see those shapes? You don't think anything benevolent. Now listen, the Book of Evil Spirits, the Key of Solomon, which contains all the names, orders, and offices of all the spirits that ever Solomon conversed with, together with the seals and characters belonging to each spirit, in the manner of calling them forth to visible appearance. In 4 parts. The first part is a book of evil spirit called Gote, showing how he bound up those spirits and used them in several things, whereby he obtained great fame. Second part is a book of spirit, partially good, partially evil, which is named Hierarchia Goetia, all aerial spirits. Third part is a book governing the planetary houses, and what spirits belong to every degree of the signs and planets in the signs, called the Polinar. The fourth part is a book called Almodel of Solomon, which contains 20 chief spirits who govern the 4 altitudes of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. The 2 last orders of spirits are good. They are and called Thurgia, and are to be sought after by divine seeking. The most sacred mysteries were revealed unto Solomon. Now, in this book, Leviathan is contained in the whole art of King Solomon. Although there may be many other books that are said to be his, yet none is to be compared hereunto, for this containeth them all. Though there be titles with several other names of the book, as the book Hithsel, which is the very same with the last book of Leviathan, called Arsnova or Arsnotoria. These books were first found in Chaldee and Hebrew tongues at Jerusalem by a Jewish rabbi, and by him put into Greek language and thence into Latin, and it is said, everyone's heard of the first one, Baal. It's spelled B-A-E-L here. I've always heard of B-A-A. First principal spirit is a king ruling in the east, called Baal. He maketh thee to go invisible. He ruleth over 66 legions of infernal spirits. He appeareth in diverse shapes, sometimes like a cat, sometimes like a toad, and sometimes like a man, and sometimes all these forms at once. He speaketh hoarsely. This is his character, which is used to be worn as a lament before him who calleth him forth, or else he will do thee homage. Gosh, it's just so disgusting. I don't understand why anyone would want to mess with this stuff. It's like I understand learning it. I just don't understand where your mindset could be, where you would ever want help from the unfamiliar and familiar spirits they talk about in the Bible. I just don't see it. The first thing that angels did with men, post Adam, I should say, was lust after the daughters of our kin, because they do not have women angels. They saw that we had something unique and beautiful. Women. Absolutely unique and beautiful. And it's disgusting what they did, because they brought pedophiles into the world, because you have to think these creatures are ancient. They were created before Adam breathed his first breath when he was formed of clay. So they knew exactly what to say to these people to get them to lust for them, for the power, for the knowledge, which is unworth it. Completely unworth it. Agarace. The second spirit is a duke called Agarace or Agaris. He is under the power of the east, and cometh in the form of an old fair man, riding upon a crocodile, carrying a goshawk upon his fist, and yet mild in appearance. He maketh them to run that stand still, and bringeth back runaways. He teaches all language or tongues presently. He hath power also to destroy dignities both spiritual and temporal, and causeth earthquakes. He was of the order of virtues. He hath under his government 31 legions of spirits, and this is the seal or character which thou shalt wear as layman before thee. Literally, it says at the top, Crowley and Mathers. Vasago, the spirit, is a mighty prince, being of the same nature as Agares. He is called Vasago, the spirit of a good nature, and his office is to declare things past and to come, and to discover all things hid or lost. And he governeth 26 Legions of Spirits, and this is still, this is literally like a book glorifying it. It's insane to me. Another book that I'm reading right now is, I'm reading a lot of books right now, but there's going to be a lot of videos coming out soon, not just lives, but videos. I'm going to finish this page, 5 Spirits. Samgina or Kamingam. The fourth spirit is Sangina, a great marquise. He appeareth in the form of a little horse or ass, and then into human shape doth he change himself at the request of the master. He speaketh with a hoarse voice, and he ruleth over 30 legions of inferiors. He teaches all liberal science, and giveth account of dead souls that died in sin. This is the seal which is to be worn before the magician when he is invocator. Marvelous, the fifth spirit is marvelous. He is a great president, and appeareth at the first in the form of a great lion, but afterward, at the request of his master, he putteth on human shape. He answereth truly of things hidden or secret. He causes disease and cureth them. And he giveth great wisdom and knowledge in mechanical arts, and can change men into other shapes. He covered 36 legion of spirits, and his seal is this, which is to be worn as aforesaid. Just, that is just, oh gosh, wicked. Wicked, wicked, wicked. Everybody that was in there, I want to read something for us. Psalm 91. It's a little protection. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahweh, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. For He will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. Everything in that book. He will cover you with His feathers. Under His wings you will take refuge. His faithfulness is your shield and rampart. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. Everything in that book, 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes. You will see the recompense of the wicked, because you have made Yahweh your refuge, the Most High your dwelling place. No evil shall happen to you, neither shall any plague come near your dwelling, for He will put His angels in charge of you to guard you in all your ways. They will bear you up in their hands, so that you won't dash your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and cobra. You will trample the young lion and serpent underfoot, because He has set His love on me. Therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. I will call on him. I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. I will satisfy him with long life and show him my salvation. Okay, so there's a lot of YouTube videos coming out, like videos, hey, there to reap grunge. A lot of comparisons of, learning about the dark and not being impressed by it, and overcoming it with the light of the Bible. I've done a lot of studying recently. I'll be doing live still, reading scripture, but also I'm going to be doing a lot more videos, a lot more different topics. Also, I still want to build a ministry. Like I said, I really want to be able to, I have a Dappernati513@gmail.com. I'd really love to, even have you on the show to have your testimony, grow the channel. But I'd love to be able to have a network of people that, that can just grow and grow and grow. And when we find people on the street that are ready to get help that day for mental health, addiction, anything they need help with, and we have a bed somewhere, or their insurance, or a sponsorship deal, or something, via the internet, we can connect them. I'll get them on that Greyhound and get them what they need to get to that place and get them in that place. Save their life. That's what I want to do. That's what Matthew 18:20 is all about. I saw at one point 18 people were here. That's 18 believers listening to the scripture. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's a body of a church right there. We can use our phones for good. Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. God bless everybody that was here.